P&B Morning Program. My name is Isanu. I'm your host today, and my co-host
is Abraham Abba.
It's a very good one that we are here today and to discuss further issues on the happenings in the country.
Very
How was the weekend, Abba?
No,
very
good, very good. Though the cold is here, the weather is changing gradually.
Okay, over the weekend, there are so many issues with respect to how the government is managing the economy. What are your perspective about things that are happening currently?
Well, looking at the way the system is, there's a little bit, there's a sun, a little bit shining somehow, because no matter what, we're going to look at it that as Nigerians, we're always believing and trusting that our governors will do better things, because that is what we elected them to do for us. So they are there to serve us. They are there to do what is necessary for the nation.
But you can see that the issue of this tax or the VAT issue has become a major issue. It has become an issue between the North and the South. And there are so many issues on how we can progress. But then still, everybody have their opinions.
No, the problem we have in this country is just, this dichotomy of I'm from this section, I'm from this. And that is why the good in all sections of the country is so minimal. Because if you look at it, some people will tell you, okay, let's look at it. What is this tax reform all about? Some of them know that this thing is going to cause a lot of change. It will bring a lot of progress. But because of will I say it's a myopic kind of thinking, or because you are supposed to do a thing and you relax, and now the president is trying to look, everybody must get up and do the right thing. That is my way of thinking. That is my opinion.
But then if you look at it critically, there are so many issues. I've read several articles on these particular issues. And one of the key issues that they raised is that with time, the agencies like NITDA, that's NITDA, agencies like TEDFON, that have actually served as backbone for our tertiary institutions will be affected by 2030 and the rest, based on the revenue that will be pushed into these particular agencies. They are going to have a major decline in it. And don't you think that is a major call for concern?
Well, if you look at NITDA and the other commission, well, if I would suggest, I don't think it's the right thing to do now. But, we need to project at so many things. Like we have the mother ministry, the Ministry of Education, which every one of us knows how important it is. So I want to call on the president to look at it carefully, because we know how much NITDA have done to the education of this country, and we know the other agency too. So we need to look at it carefully, because sometimes you don't throw the baby with the bad water. We should throw the water and then leave the baby to keep growing.
That's a very good one. I enjoyed that particular clause you made use of. It is better you keep the baby and sustain the life of existence. But then one key issue that also happened within the political scene, let us look at our neighboring country, Ghana. Ghana just conducted their election with a new president. It was actually the former president of the country. How did you view their electoral process?
Well, I was gisting with some of my guys in the garden yesterday, and I said yesterday, it's just too good. If you look at the election in Ghana, it's like, is it African country? Is it one of our neighbors just close here? And then you ask yourself that, are Nigerian politicians watching this? Are they really watching this? Because look at the opponent. He just went to the press and said, well, I'm okay, I'm fine. Looking at the process, it was fine and okay. So these are some of the things we need to keep playing for the electorate of this country, because it's like they need to go to the school of Ghana politics.
No, but me, I beg to disagree on this, because
Why?
if you look at what Jonathan did during his tenure,
Jonathan is just a one man.
Yeah,
but if you look at Ghana, just start rolling from when Jerry Rawlings, there was a synergy. you could see that everybody allow the will of the people. You get the point. Okay, look at how the other guy left. What is it? The man that left before Mahama? What is his name? You know, you could see that when he came in, Mahama carefully like, okay, I knew my fault, and the people were not okay with my kind of leadership. Okay, let me go back to school. You get it? And now he now draw momentum, and now he said, okay, now I think I understood governance. Let me come and tell people if they agree. And then the people were like, good, this man is okay. This man that was the opponent is the vice president, as we're told, he should go to that school too and then learn from Mahama.
I hope Nigerian politicians will learn from the good aspect of it. But
yes, that's why I said what we'll do as media, we need to keep rehearsing this, repeating this, because to me, it seems to me like the politicians in Nigeria don't watch this local news, like they don't care less about, okay, all they are after is 2027. There are so many things to learn. You get, there are so many things to learn when it comes. Just look at like the American election.
If we are to discuss this, we'll take much of the time of the viewers, but they're still on this beautiful morning program. We'll be focusing on key issues that actually happened during the course of the weekend, and also some of the breaking stories that are heading our headlines in our newspapers, and so many issues that we definitely will look into: the issue of the VAT, the issue of the tax, whatsoever word you use to describe that particular issue is very, very important. At this particular point in time, we discuss so much with respect to how our nation will move forward. So we'll be going on a very short break, and when we return, we'll go directly into the newspaper headlines. Welcome back from that mild break, and I'm still here in the studio this Monday morning. So many activities taking place today in the Federal Capital Territory, and definitely there are so many issues that we have to actually be abreast with based on the newspaper headlines. So let me quickly start with the Punch. Punch newspaper this morning, the issues regarding so much on, sorry, just a mild one there. Okay, let me take it now. Lakurawa Nigerian neighbors begin offensive against new terror group. So much has happened with respect to insecurity in the country. We've actually seen an improvement of it. But then, the coming of this Lakurawa, how do you view it? Will it change the speed of things?
Lakurawa, from my understanding, is just a batch from the Boko Haram. It's like a split from the other terror group. It's like, you know, what they normally have is the moment we have issues, we will now go our way. So they give it a name. So it's not something from the past. It's just for our security agencies and the neighbors to do the needful. Because these guys are such, you know, they are these people that will always do their thing. At every point in time, they were like, okay, want to divide the head of the security agencies. So I want to call on the security agencies to do the needful. Forget about the name. Focus on what is on board. And what is the game plan is fighting terrorism. So about the name is, for me, is nothing. If you want to do the needful, do it. Forget whoever is there. Just protect the people and what belongs to the country. So if I will suggest, I will call on Nigerian army and the rest, they should look carefully. They should not be so distracted by whatsoever. I feel we have all it takes. We have all the armaments, but it's just how to go about it that is a problem. You get it? So we need synergy among all the parastatals, though we've been seeing it. And then lately, look at what happened with the armed forces game that just happened lately. If you look at it, that alone will tell you that the African country is ready. If they will have a fine game like that, then fighting terrorists is just a peanut. So I will call on every country to look into this, because these guys are not laughing. Yes,
indeed. I'm happy so far that even at the instant when we had the acting chief of army staff, now the chief of army staff confirmed, the first thing he did was to say that he moved in some of his guys to that particular area to condone it and then start taking action that are needed. And we've actually seen that, yes, apart from that particular first month, we've not actually seen any major strike from this particular set of terrorists who are in some part of the Northwest. But let us quickly move to the issue of tax reform, just like we were discussing earlier on. Akume placed down Northern opposition as Senate meets Attorney General of the Federation.
Well, if you look at the whole situation going on with the tax reform bill, Mr. President is a little bit fast on this. That is my opinion. He's a little bit fast on this, and whoever is giving him that advice, I think they need to, like, okay, Mr. President, let's hear from the people. Let's hear from the National Assembly, because this is the National Assembly of the people. People elected this, even Mr. President, to power. So what you do is bring it on the table. Okay, this is what we're looking at. Since he came on board, I've not heard that he had a town hall meeting. Obasanjo did that. Jonathan did a little. But I hardly hear Mr. President come on a town hall meeting to say, today I want to discuss with Nigerians. And you see the media organization around him asking him questions, and Nigerians are sending messages. None of this is happening.
Because this is just like you've rightly raised. This is a very important issue.
Of
the
course.
Tax reform bill is very, very important. And this is one precedent we've seen with so many media hits. But then at the end of the day, the enlightenment is not still there amongst the people. People are either supporting the bill, maybe based on region or based on tribe, but not actually coming out to actually synthesize what the bills entails until when some group of persons in the north started kicking against it, probably due to the impact it's going to have in some of, maybe in their own take, financial own take, and at the same time also how it is also it will also affect the educational sector. So if you look at this issue of the tax reform bill, there are so many issues that the government will still have to clear, because the first set of persons that opposed this particular bill was the National Economic Council, headed by the Vice President Kashim Shettima. And after that time, the president said, no, move it to the National Assembly. And that is where we started hearing more of the uproars, and then the governors coming in and the rest. So it's a critical issue that we have to take our time to actually look at it properly before even saying that, yes, it is now time for it to pass.
Yes, you see, no Nigeria. Nigerians are so enlightened. Take it. Nigerians are schooled. We don't just come and bring something on the table and everybody will just swallow it. It's not possible. We are in a century where everybody needs to be carried along. The fact that we make you a president, a lot of us, we are in the media, we spoke about this man. We felt, okay, this is a Democrat. This is someone that has nothing to do with the khaki,
the military
background. He has nothing. He has gone through a lot of assassination attempts in his life, and we felt, okay, you went through a lot just for you to be the president. And then you look at his colleagues, or we said people who he was going with, the Adolas, and then we have a lot of them, the Bola Iges. These are Democrats, the Nadekos. These are people that felt we need to give back to the people. We need to make the people happy. And now you just
Nigerians are now crying loud.
Yes, and Nigerians are crying, if not for hunger, Nigerians are crying for subsidy. Now you're coming with this
bill and
now.
yes.
Okay, look at it. Look, we are here to say it as a media. We have the right. Is given to us to say it the way it is.
Yeah.
Mr. President, if you know what is right, listen to the people, because the National Assembly is the assembly of Nigerians.
But people also raise question about the National Assembly.
No. You see,
because if you look at the National Assembly, for instance,
yes.
People also believe that the National Assembly can also be more more self-centered to actually pass this particular bill, especially the Senate, as people have actually covered it with. But for the House of Rep, we can see the agitations from different set of persons who are actually not in support of that bill. But let's just quickly move down to what happened just in Syria over the weekend. Syrian rebels host Assad and 60-year family rule.
Yes.
That's a very so much.
I give a thumbs up to the rebels, though it's not good for us to say on the TV that here we are supporting rebels. But for a family to be, it is a dynasty, you call it. 60 years is not 60 days, it's not 60 months. You've been in the helm of affair of a nation for 60 years. Is it error? And when I heard it on the dailies, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. These are some of the things we need to see in the world, not Africa.
Yeah, but in Africa we have presidents who have been there for over 30 years. We've seen
that's why we said it's gradually coming down.
Yeah.
Because if you look at what is happening in the world now, people are enlightened. The young generation are telling the older, look, the time is now.
But people have also argued on how this, like for instance, the Arab Spring and the rest of it, like people have also argued that it is not just about the changing of leaders.
Okay.
Because we've seen that happen in Libya. We've seen that happen in Sudan.
Okay.
We've seen that happen in other African countries. But then, the aftermath of it is actually where people are actually concerned. Look at Libya till this moment. Look at Sudan till this particular moment. What have they actually gained from the change?
Well,
in terms of
you see, the issue here is that if you look at the Syria issue, is quite different from what you see in other
part of Libya.
Yes. Like in the issue of Libya, you could see that it's just a vendetta kind of thing. Like, okay, this man have mission for the African country, because severally, even on his book, you could see that he said he want a united Africa. Yeah. A united Africa is a blow to the foreign country that gives aid and collect it in double. So they will not want that kind of person to keep having his way. But in the issue of Syria, Al-Assad is someone that is more like a terrorist himself. Because if you look at the way so many things, so he's not this considerate kind of person. But if you should put him side in side with the Libya president, you could see that Gaddafi is far more humane than the Syria guy.
Let us quickly move to the Daily Post now. And on the front page of the Daily Post, we have Dangote Port Harcourt refineries.
Good.
Nigerians voice out frustrations amid high fuel price.
Well, you see, if you should look at the whole buhaha in the country about our refinery, I could say it's our fault. It's our fault because since we came into this situation as democracy, it's a situation and it's a process. And democracy will not be fine in just one decade. We might not even get it in our own time.
But are you praying?
But what I'm saying is that what is going on right now about the refinery is that if they had allowed Dangote to take over, like the Kaduna refinery or the Port Harcourt refinery or the one of the refineries you find around, I think this issue should have not been here. But because of this issue of no, he's more of a capitalist, he's more of this. No, government has nothing to do with business. Though they said government do business, but not with so much load on itself. We have the PPP. You bring down Dangote, for instance, why will you start building the refineries when we have dead refineries all over? And these are refineries that have been there for a long time, and we know how good this thing is. So for me, I'm not the advocate of everything is fine. What we are having today is just that it's unfortunate that since we came into the democracy setting now, everything has not really been so good and fine with us. So I want to call on Dangote that he should just look at Nigerians. He should look at, okay, the masses. Because all he is trying to do for me, since he came on board in all his program, you could see that he is more of, let me do it for the people. Even if the prices are so high, you could see the number of people he recruit into his programs. So for me, it's a very good thing for the country.
Because Dangote, if you check critically, you also not blame him. He's a businessman. That's
Very
number one.
good.
Number two, the government are supposed to create the platform where people can actually do business successfully.
Yes.
And then number three, if you look at all that he has done over time, if the government has actually played their role properly by making the 4 refineries are working, we wouldn't have even gotten to this particular state where we see the high cost of price and the rest. But then the regulation brought in all passage of the PIA bill. There's so much to discuss, and then but then still there are so many issues that we have to actually see that happen. But just the last one before we go on this break, what is your take? Because Trump is now coming in. And his plan first is to see that many Nigerians like you or many Africans are deported.
No, well, he said it's not everybody. He said those that came through the back door, the immigrants. We have a lot of people that in the US, with most people went there to study. A lot of people went there for professional programs. I get in like the doctor, but there are 1,001 that go through all the illegal means to get to that country. So what he's saying is not for every person. You get it? He's talking about those that came illegally. So if you are in America illegally and you're hearing me, please start arranging your things and get back to your country. That is the best thing, because Trump is not going to listen to anybody. If you look at the man, he is giving that that department. He is someone that is so brutal. He don't even listen to anybody. So for Trump has been his everyday music.
That
even before
part of his foreign policy.
Yes, he said he will not allow his countrymen to be in a mess when a lot of people come there and they come through the back door and they make a lot of things and they went away. So he's trying to say is that, local, if you know you come through the back door, oh yeah,
get set and leave.
Get set.
Okay, let us quickly take the Vanguard before we call it a close for the news. On the front page of the Vanguard, it says, why Naira is in massive recoveries all market by bankers.
Well, if you look at it, the POS, most of the POS stand we see today is just the bankers' place of dropping their money. Yes, because if you go to a close, just imagine I left my estate.
No, I think this particular issue is focusing on the forex now.
Yes,
the increasing. That's the increasing strength of the naira in the foreign market.
Okay.
Yes.
But the increasing strength of the naira, but we are not finding it easy here. You cannot get the naira. Is it that they are telling us to go the dollar? Yes. So if you look at it now, for me, if it's going to work for the country, if that fall or rising will make everything good for the country and our people, we are good with it. Because, okay, if I listen to the governor of the central bank, he spoke a lot in the last MPI meeting, or what the first quarter and the last quarter I think they had, he spoke about a lot on how the naira is gaining ground over the dollar. So I feel very comfortable with it, but it shouldn't be like we will not just start clapping hands for them. You get it? We're clapping hands for them. We want them to do the more.
Okay, because for me, I just believe that the reason why we're having issues with this fluctuation is because I've studied the foreign market for some time now, the forex market, I mean to say, and I understand that during December, so Nigerians are coming back home. So they come in with their dollars.
Yes.
So instead of you to go to Ford to go and get the dollar or to go to the black market, at that particular point in time, you have surplus of it. And by that, it strengthens the naira. The scarcity of the dollar is no longer there.
Yes.
So the increment in terms of the naira value and the rest of it, you are going to see that, during that particular point in time, December downward to January, you see a dwindling, and then you see an increment in the strength.
Yes, and I remember the governor, in one of his press, he said, what I want to do, we have to go to the United Nations to meet with our Nigerian citizens that, okay, we want to open a forex account for you back home. So you don't need to keep your money there. Just send it back to the country, and then we'll know how to keep it for you. When you come back, you can have access to your money, which I think if that is available, or if that is done, it will go a long way for the country.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abraham, for joining us on this particular program. It's good you are also part of the host for this program this morning. And so much we are going to be discussing because our guests are right there waiting for us to join them. So we'll go on this short break, and when we return, we'll be having Dr. Chinoso Stanley Ndukwe to discuss with us on the issues that borders on some of our economic policies in the country. So let's go for this break. Welcome back from that mild break, and just before now we had our newspaper review looking at issues across the country, and definitely so many Nigerians will now be abreast with the activities taking place, be it in the foreign or in the local space. But then still with us is our co-host in person of Mr. Abba Ibrahim. Abba Ibrahim, we've just discussed Nigeria as a whole, and now we'll still have to look at some of the key issues that actually happened last week. 32 states in Nigeria record zero foreign investment in 2024, and for that we'll be having our guest in person of Dr. Chinoso Stanley Ndukwe. I will be joining us via Zoom to have this conversation. Doctor, good morning and welcome to the P&B Morning Show. Can you hear me?
Morning, Mr. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. It's nice having you this morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. It's nice
pleasure.
Getting to meet with you this morning to discuss this particular issue. And it is very, very important that we have so many issues to discuss, because the world is evolving. Even the politics is also evolving. But now, a major issue happened over the weekend. A whooping of about 32 states in Nigeria record zero foreign investment in 2024. What are the takes on our economic issues?
Thank you very much for that beautiful question. I call that question beautiful because my take is based on over a decade of research regarding foreign direct investment within Nigeria and the emerging economy. You can see we are having an issue of investment poverty within the states in Nigeria, because we have state governors who do not have control over the macroeconomic credentials, given the fact that they travel and visit a lot of European, American, and Asian countries, and yet they can't attract those foreign direct investments. It's because they have lost control of the macroeconomic credentials of the states. What do I mean by macroeconomic credentials? The first issue here is the issue of infrastructure. Many of our states do not have solid infrastructure that has the capacity to attract foreign direct investment. One of the most important infrastructure in the transport sector, in the agro sector, in the construction sector, real estate, and also in the technology sector is the issue of power. Our power infrastructure within the states are so bad. Infrastructure is very slow, low, and not very encouraging. So this discourages investors. Investors want to have access to where there is electricity. Also, the issue of incentivization. We don't have incentives that is propelling the small and medium scale enterprises. These small enterprises we have in Nigeria lack incentives that will boost their investment, that will boost what they are doing. Because there's an African adage that says it is the rat that is in the kitchen, that is in the house, that tells the one outside that is a fish inside. So the small, medium scale enterprises, they can attract investments from outside the country because they don't have incentives to boost what they are doing, to solidify their marketing and to improve their businesses. So these are the macroeconomic situation that the country has lost control of. And the third area is very crucial. Our forex, our exchange rate is unstable. It has led to the movement of such businesses like ShopRite, businesses like even in the drug sector, they are leaving. They are leaving the country because there's no stable forex. The naira is not stable. Since the currency was floated last year, it has worsened the stability of the currency, which makes investors panic. Investors don't want to come. They'll bring in $1 billion, and tomorrow that $1 billion reduced to 500 million. It's very
if I can come in here, if I can come in, Doctor, there are several occasions where so many people have actually said that, oh wow, it is good that companies are actually leaving, because it also creates room for the local industry to also meet up with expectations of Nigerians. Actually agree with that.
For example, Egypt for example, Egypt has one of the highest FDIs currently in Africa in the emerging economies, followed by South Africa and then Nigeria. We have countries like UK, countries like South Africa, invested in Nigeria currently to help our economy. When economies that are developed invest in the lower ones, it increases our development, it increases our innovation, it also increases our GDP, and then helps our level to grow. We cannot develop on our own. We are not an island. Economies don't develop on their own. America has a massive investment from different economies. UK has different economies investing in them. South Africa has different economies invested in South Africa for it to grow. Egypt has different economies invested in Egypt for it to grow. So we cannot say that they are living for us to grow. No, we can grow together. We can massively improve together. So what we're having is that we're having what we call a trade flight, investment flight, and also we're having labor flight. As they are living with their labor.
That's network issue, also disrupting the flow of our conversation. But then still on this particular issue, the doctor made it clear that there are so many indices that we actually have to look out for, most especially if you look at other countries, for instance, Egypt, South Africa. These are destinations for people good investment or pour in their funds and then get back interest or probably gains from what they've invested in. But in our own case, we are now having, or let me say, sorry, I mean to say companies, industries leaving the shores of the country.
Well, if you look at it carefully, just like Dr. made mention, a lot of the governors are just sitting there thinking less. They travel out of these countries, they go out there, but they never bring the investors to their own country. Like I think maybe they are so relaxed because they come to Abuja. At the end of the day, they are given naira and kobo just to take care of themselves, and then they think less about inviting their friends. Most of these people, they were once senators, they were once business people, but it's only few of them that you see they go out there to invite other foreigners to come and help them grow their state. Like we see here, just our neighbors. If you go to Niger State, he do a lot. You could see the way he's going about the agriculture. So
okay, let's quickly get back to him. Doctor, please, the other time we had network disruption, but then still now that you are here, please can you go ahead with your thought?
Right, like we see he do a lot. So
that time we had network disruption, but then still now that you are here.
It is this: drive the local and the internal economy to make it stronger. The reason why it is done is that hybridization of economic development improves stability, it improves productivity, it also improves innovation because there'll be diversity of reasoning, of idea. When businesses from South Africa bring in their technical know-how, their finances into Nigeria, what happens is that it helps our economy to solidify. So we need investment from places like Egypt, from Austria, from Australia, from UK. And we have what it is, the issue of the stability of our power system. We need to build our infrastructure in the sense that our power system must be developed. We need, as a matter of urgency, we need infrastructure in agronomy, agricultural infrastructure that will attract those processing plants into our economy to process our agro products so that we can be able to export them and get value for our investment. Our economy today is almost down because what we are recording is 2 to 3% GDP increase, and our standard of living is being destroyed because we don't have FDI and we don't have local investment. Now, the question I was asking the other day in our meeting regarding state governors and how they have killed Nigeria, the first question I asked is, how many state governors in the past 5 years can of when governors will sit here, they are not creating any product. How will you attract foreign direct investment? Investors want to come and invest where something is ongoing. They don't do startup. They want to invest where the governors or where the state value. We come in, what I'm saying.
So, Doctor,
so we are not being productive as state governors. Most of our state governors are only salary payers. They are not governing the economy. They are not governing the macroeconomic factors. This is a challenge we have today.
Doctor, I heard with what to their own state. If, Mr. President, Georgia, if you study California, you are just saying about governor, the farm executive governor. I think a lot will be done. So the ones who
very, very intelligible. I mean, it's very good, a very good question.
Doctor, I heard you very well. Now I want to ask a question. What do you think the Senate or the presidency should do with this? I wouldn't call them the lazy ones, but the ones that sit there and then they think of coming to the center at every end of the day to come and collect stipends when they have a lot to do for their own state. Because if you look at like the countries like America, there are governors that they hardly come to see Mr. President, and you see they do a lot. Like if you study Georgia, if you study California, you see these are states that are doing very well economically. Is it you call it? You are just saying about the agro economy, and then we have a governor here who called himself the farmer. He's not the title of executive governor, and I think if the rest will follow suit, I think a lot will be done. So, Doctor, what do you think should be done with the other ones who sit behind just to come to the center and collect stipends?
Very, very intelligible. I mean, it's very good, a very good question. And look at where we should start from. We have to constitutionalize the budget. Look at what I mean. There should be an act that should go to the Senate that will state every year, this is what the billions given to governors will be used to be done with. Every governor in the states must be able to say every year, look at what I've achieved in terms of production of what? Any, value. The governors, they work in freedom. They work as they like. They use the money as they like. Our governors are the reason why we are a poor nation. Because when the billions come in, there's no act, there's no constitutionalized, organization or order that say this money coming in. Look at what they're going to use it to do. They don't have any direction. That's why what happened. Billions were kept, dollars doing. Say, look at what they're going to do with the money for the people. That's the challenge we have. There should be an act that will say this allocation for the year. We project that this state is going to get 500 billion. Lagos State. Now, this 500 billion, Lagos, look at the 3 areas we need Lagos to focus on. This is what we need. Lagos, we're going to build where they will make a phone, technology companies that will make phones, build with private public partnership. Look at the area we're going to invest in. At the end of the year, we want to see that you have built where they are making phones in Lagos State. The third one, we're going to, these are the kind of laws, acts that will guide every fund that states get. If there are laws guiding the funds they're getting, how they use it, there'll be less mismanagement and it's in Imo State from year to year, since 1999 now, we don't have a solid production ground. We don't have where we produce anything tangible as regards technology, as regards agriculture, as regards construction. There's nothing that state can say it has done. There is no state in Nigeria now that has tubes, like a tube that takes people from one government to the other. There is no state in Nigeria that has a solid transport network system. None. Solid time transportation system. Because the money comes in, nobody directs them. Look at what they are going to use the money. So the governors, and at that, they are also trying to colonize the force of the local governments. Our governors are not properly followed up. I have a research dossier of every governor in Nigeria for the past 20 years. I have compiled all they have done. They are the reason why Nigeria is poor. Most of our governors don't have any clue. They don't have any clue of what it means to govern a company, let alone a state. A state is a conglomeration of companies, towns, wards, and different villages. If you are going to be a governor, the first thing you should do is, what are my people producing? What can we do to make sure they produce it better and export it? And as they are producing it better, they will attract foreigners to come and become part of it. We have, for example, in Europe, what we call the sports business. We have Premier League, we have La Liga, because they have developed the league locally. Now they are importing people. People are coming to invest. We have Russian people investing with China. They are investing in it because they have built it and they have structured the sports industry to grow. That's why you see Nigerians are watching sports league, watching Premier League, watching La Liga, Bundesliga. Why? Because it's where our local leagues are not invested in. And investment in those local leagues in the next 10 years can bring billions to states. It can bring trillions to our economy. So what we need to do is to look at laws that will guide every money you spend. How are you going to spend it? What is the value for our people, for the masses? We don't have strong, solid budget. Every money you spend. How are you going to spend it? What is the value for our people, for the masses?
Let me quickly come in, Doctor. If you can hear me,
infrastructure.
If you can hear me, Doctor, can I just come in? Hello, Doctor.
Doctor is really angry.
Doctor, can I just come in here? Because you've raised so many questions on how things are not actually going well in the country. But then if you look at the statistics, it probably says otherwise. Because just last year, according to data, Nigeria attracted $1.2 billion in the third quarter of 2024 compared to $2.16 billion and $3.3 billion in the second quarter and first quarter of the year, respectively. Should I take it back? Okay, for clarity's sake, let me take it back. I just want you to listen carefully.
Nigeria has 200 million people and above.
Yes.
Hello? Are you there? Nigeria has 200 million population and above, right? And Nigeria is seen as one of the of Africa. And we are attracting $1.2 billion. And if you read that, it's only 4 companies that are doing it. 4. It's 4 from 12 nations. Egypt, that is less than 70 million people. Egypt, they are attracting about $12 billion 2023. Why are they attracting more foreign direct investment? The reason is simple. They are developing their states locally. They have solid infrastructure on. Egypt has solid energy infrastructure. Their energy security is top-notch. Egypt has zero attraction, zero allowance for corruption. You cannot steal public money in Egypt and go free. In Nigeria, we have governors, countless of governors who have cases they are not. So what are we saying? We cannot say that we are doing well in FDI because we are not attracting enough. Because those who are supposed to help Mr. President are not doing their work. Look at FCT, for example. Wike is doing so much in road infrastructure. How many governors are doing it like him? There's none. Except, for example, one or two pockets of governors, the one in Lagos and the one in Borno State. And they can't even compare what they are doing. And road infrastructure is not enough. There is Maslow'ian law on the basics of our needs. Our need is food. There should be investment in agro infrastructure so that we can have foreign companies coming in to invest in our cassava plants, invest in our plant that can produce food. Then we can be able to export to them and have forex and get our economy robustified. So we are not producing enough. We are not attracting FDI because we don't have solid infrastructure. We don't. And we are not having incentives for those who can attract those foreign investments. We don't have incentives for tourism. For example, how many tourist attractions do we have in the FCT, for example? We do not have interest in that. How many places, how many new companies have you seen coming to Nigeria to invest in tourism? Because we are not incentivizing hotel owners, recreation centers to be able to develop what they have to attract the funds to come in here. Our people are hardworking. Our people are great. But the third challenge we have is skill poverty. We are not investing in skill development in Nigeria. If we create more skills, we are not investing in skill development in Nigeria. If we create more skills,
was one of the major reasons why the president paid visit to France and South Africa.
More companies want to come in here to invest in us.
Doctor, just a quick one. Don't you think that's the more reason why the president paid visits to France and South Africa to actually get more of this foreign direct investment?
In my analysis, those visits, they are not attractive. I will not have foreign direct investment because you cannot go out and bring people to come into a place where 90% of people are complaining of high level of abject poverty, where crime rate has increased, where we have those visits is to invest in security infrastructure, invest in agro at home, stabilize the economy. Look at our petrol system, for example. Look at what we have been saying for the past 2 years right now. I argue that look at Donald Trump. 3 weeks ago, look at what Donald Trump said. The first thing I would do is to reduce our petrol and energy cost by 50%. FDI is highly connected to energy. Instead of traveling abroad, Mr. President to sit down and get new sets of marketers that will be able to solve the petroleum products, the problem we are having with our petroleum products. Find out how we can be able to fix our argument with Dangote and subsidize energy. Energy is the brain boss of foreign direct investment. Our energy market is bad. Most people can't even go to work. Most people can't even go to their businesses. Companies cannot be able to stay in Nigeria and be buying diesel. When they calculate their diesel expenses for the next 1 year, they can't make profit, so they can't invest. So the first thing the government should do is look at, for example, we have importers who are still importing, people like Iran who are still importing petrol. Subsidize their importation by making sure that all the vessels they are using are being subsidized in the marine businesses. If you can't do that, sit down with Dangote, find out how you can increase what you have given him as per crude to subsidize until we bring down the price of petrol products. Our economy will not get better. Write this down. Until Mr. Tinubu, the president, rethinks about this issue of subsidy and realizes that every country in the world, from Qatar to America to UK to Switzerland to Denmark, they're all subsidizing energy. Why would we subsidize energy? Why are you suffocating the economy? Look at common bag of rice, the prices. Common bag of rice, the price we are having. Because the energy is expensive. It's not as more expensive to use your tractor in the farm. I farmed this year. I know how much I lost in farming. The energy the cost of diesel for tractor is high. Cost of labor is higher because those that want to work in the farm, you have to pay higher to get them to work. To feed them is more expensive. I didn't get one single incentive for my farm. What am I telling you? So what we are looking at is that our energy cost is high. That is why the economy is bad. And that's one of the reasons we're having what we call capital flight and investment flight today. The companies are leaving because they cannot pay diesel. They can't manage diesel. I have designed a structure called new subsidy structure that I want to send to the presidency. If we can adapt it today, within the next 2 months, Tinubu will be called the best president of Nigeria. We have to sacrifice as leaders, both as governors, as senators, as local government chairmen, as state governors. We have to sacrifice so that this country can stand. Because the way we are moving towards a very, very bad economy like Venezuela. The way we're looking, the way we are moving, the way our currency is so fluctuating. Yesterday, naira was 1,750. It went back to 1,500. Those uncertainties in our currency and the cost of energy is destroying our FDI possibilities.
Doctor, I think if I should ask you, don't you think this tax reform is a good one for the country at this moment?
Is good. I had a conversation with some people at the NCA regarding this tax reform, and my opinion is simple. The essence of tax reform, I have read the documents. There are 4 different acts that they have brought up to redefine our tax system. It's good, but let us not run a tax economy. Tax economy is a destructive economy. Most economies that run on tax economy, if they have to survive, they have to employ what they call welfareism, social welfareism, a basic welfare system, which we know cannot run in Nigeria, because those that will work on the welfare will definitely squander it. COVID-19 palliative is an example. They will definitely not allow the poor to have access to it. It will create stability. The states that are not strong, that are lazy, will start sitting up. And it will also help make our political parties to begin to sit up and think before they bring someone to become a governor. They must look for a businessman who has interest in productivity. The tax reform will also increase peace and harmony and reduce the issue of some states complaining that they are feeding the other states, like Lagos State, for example, that is the highest, followed by Rivers State and FCT. They have the highest taxes, and they are complaining bitterly that what they are producing is what other states are using to flex, because they also know themselves. They know that most of the state governors are not productive. Most of our state governors are not creative. They are not innovative, and they don't care. They don't care about the people. So the tax reform will help them sit up, wake up, and begin to rethink on what they are supposed to use the monies they get from FAC every month. I support the tax reform, but the only thing I said, if they're going to work on it, let them ensure that there is a solid welfare state, welfare system, because Nigeria is already overtaxed from the poor woman right there in the east to the north. They're already overtaxed. They need to sit down and make sure that the overtaxing is reduced. Overtaxing, we have countless of taxes, from postal order to phone tax to. They should look at it again and make sure that they revisit most of those areas that people are complaining about on the reform. There should be a balance. Even the state governors that are complaining, they should come together, have a tax conference. We should and break out everything so that in the long run it will end on dividing us apart more.
Okay, Doctor, I'm happy with your take on this particular issue, stating it clearly that you are happy with the tax reform, and you actually stated it very clear that the governors are actually docile into bringing development to their state, most especially attracting foreign direct investment. But we also understand that some of these governors, or let me say even all, to a greater extent, may not have same capacity. And this is where the problem lies. Many of the state governors are actually against it for now, because they know that they don't have the buffer for them to face the challenges that will come as a result of uprising from their citizens. Because if the tax reform is implemented, so many persons, according to them, will actually lose their job with time. In 2030, institutions like TED Fund, like NITSDA, and some other federal government agencies are actually going to have dwindling in terms of their intake from the government with respect to the percentage intake that they normally get from the government, and that will actually affect educational sector and other subsectors of the country. So do you think for them not to have even attracted so much in terms of investment, do you think it's the right time for the government to actually, the federal government, to apply the tax reform? Apply the tax reform.
The issue we're having here is most of Tinubu's moves are always a jump. The people who are advising the president are always, they don't think through things. Look at what happened to the subsidy. You came into power. You didn't sit down and reorganize the sector. Solve the issue of transport first. Solve the issue of refinery first. Discuss with the stakeholders and plan it properly. Look at the PIB. You destroyed the economy. Look at the tax issue. There was no audit. There should have been audit on all the governors. Use 3-6 months, do a proper audit. Show them what they are doing with the money they are getting from FAC. Show them that they are not using it well. Indict them. Use the media, use the audit, protect fund. What are they achieving? They're not achieving enough. All the funds are given to them, most of the funds are given to them are not properly managed, they're not properly used because they're not seeing the results. We are not seeing the investments in our people. After the audit, you present the case that there should be need for people to begin to do more. And then you also present the cases from Lagos, FCT, and River State. Look at what they are using with the money they are having. Look at why they are producing more. There's a reason why Lagos is producing more. There's a reason why River State is producing more in terms of tax. So when you present these cases, then you can be able to move in for the tax reform. There should be a case. There should be a preamble. There should be a premise or a conclusion. You don't jump in. Imagine if you had about TL, Travel for London. Imagine if Tinubu came in, had a meeting with TL, brought TL into Nigeria. Within 6 months, they will establish a standard TL in Abuja, in Lagos, in Kaduna, in 5 different places. We have buses running on 24 hours. We're secured.
Doctor, and everywhere running out of time. Hello, doctor. I just want you to take this particular question before we call it a day because we are already out of time.
All right.
Just a quick one. Now that the tax issue is on ground, and one critical aspect that people have actually raised is that those that are actually championing this particular cause are actually people from the Southwest. They call, for instance, if you check the Minister of Finance is from the Southwest, the Special Advisor to the President on Taxation is from the Southwest, the Senate Committee Chairman on finance is also from the Southwest. That of the House of Reps is also from the Southwest. And people have actually said that this seems to be a bill from most people who are actually from the Southwest, and not just the Southwest, but also from Lagos State. And can you just give us a closing remark with regards to this? Check the Minister on tax on is also people who are state. And can you just give us
is we call it pseudo restructuring. The Lagos boys want to restructure Nigeria without we knowing it. After this one now, they enter the state police. They want to make sure that, because we have built Lagos, the Hausa, the Fulani, the Europe, we built Lagos. Lagos is not a Yoruba land. It's a land for every Nigerian. It was once our capital. It was once our Washington. This issue of Yoruba bringing in this tax secretly, because what they think that they are in power now. In the next, they can be able to benefit more when the tax returns are done the way they like it. But it's not the best way to do it. I believe that the nepotism of current government should be addressed. It is a nepotistic tax reform that will benefit the Southwest more, because Lagos brings in 500. They want to use all those money to go back and not Lagos alone. And it is wrong. It's unjust economically. Given that our seaport, the major seaport in Nigeria, is in Lagos. Given that our major businesses are in Lagos. So their secret tax reform, they are bringing in. I'm not against this per se, but it shows that they have an
Dr. Chinoso Stanley, Doctor, thank you so much for telling me. But then, unfortunately, we've run out of get yours on the PM. But this is how far we can go, definitely. And with more of issues like this coming out within the week, we'll definitely get your opinion more on issues like that. We are very, very happy for you to have joined us on the P&B Morning Show this morning to tell us more about this dwindling in terms of foreign direct investment to the country. How about you've listened to Doctor, and what can you say to that?
Well, Doctor spoke very well, and he hit the nail at the head. And what he did today, I think, is a very good one to all persons listening to this program this morning, because what the Nigerians are crying about is like, for everyone that comes to that position, what they normally do is just to bring people who are their praise singers, and I don't think it's making any headway for a country like Nigeria.
Okay, that's a very good one. Thank you, Ababo. Then definitely there are so many issues that we are going to look out after and just the break, and definitely we'll be returning back to continue with the program. So let's take this break. And when we return, welcome back from that break, and just before the break we had Dr. Chinonso Stanley Ndukwe discussing with us with respect to the kind of investment that we've gotten so far. Why there are so many applause from the government angle that we're actually seeing a new light in the system, but then so many Nigerians still believe that we are far from it because our PDI, our poverty index, is still increasing, and also in terms of infrastructural development we are not yet there, and that could be a major blow for us until those issues are addressed. And he also raised critical issues with respect to the governors not performing as expected. Because I was discussing with a friend recently, and he said, Issa, we don't just have 37 governors. If you have, that's inclusive of the FCT minister, seeing him as a governor based on the power that has been given to him, that we actually have 38 governors, including that of the CBN. If you look at the Emefiele Gates that just happened recently, so many issues. Can we actually break from these junks?
Yes, it's very easy, because if you look at what the president is trying to cook now, I think it's going to make a lot of difference. For some of the state executives, they start seeing the game, they are adjusting carefully. Like, okay, we'll give it to Bago. He is doing very good in the agri-economy. And then you go to the east, like the governor of Enugu State, and a lot of them go to Lagos State. Lagos State is more like the president's state, where he has come up with a lot of reform there. Then you come to Oyo State, you know, a lot of them are doing good. But a few a few of the governors are a little bit lacking behind. Maybe they are still like, okay, we are the first time kind of thing. Let's enjoy ourselves. When it's the second tenure, then we'll just. But Mr. President, as it is now, is not someone that he will leave you just to sit down, idle, come to the center and receive money. It's not going to be that business as usual.
You know, some of the governors would have even preferred to see that the whole of their budget is actually a security vote so that they can use it the way they want. But then it is not time for them to do that now.
But they're not going to get it easy, because to me, Mr. President is a tax collector. We know that right from Lagos. He will tax you to your bone. So everybody knows that. And so they should just wake up. If that is what they are thinking, they should wake up, because it's going to surprise a lot of people.
I hope he surprised them in the positive light, because on several counts, just like Dr. Stanley Chinoso said, that yes, it is good with tax, but when you have high rate of poverty in the country, I'm not talking just about maybe the north, but in the south, there are states with high amount of
if you look at the situation, I always tell people that Mr. President is barely 2 years in governance, but what brought us to this place?
Some of the policy decision that he took, the issue of removal of the fuel subsidy,
but
the increment of the electricity tariff.
If the subsidy removal would have not taken place, do you know that at the moment it's so hard for so many countries, so many states to pay salaries? Do you know that?
Yes, we understand.
So what we're saying is that
we understand.
What Mr. President is doing is going to be so hard on the people, but for me, it's a fine one, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. But it's not going to be easy for so many Nigerians. So that's why, for now, a lot of countries go through the same kind of waters.
Austerity measures.
A lot of, even America, that is it the UK, everybody's going through this.
But one thing that people actually fail to also understand in the whole of this, must we suffer before we are liberated? That's one. I'll get back to that. And then number two, when you look at the money that has been stolen from this country, it is not the poor people who are in abject poverty that are actually stealing the money.
Yes.
So why not expand the net in terms of governance? Why not checkmate in terms of your anti-corruption agencies on how they're actually fighting corruption?
Well, if you
look at what happened just within the space of Emefiele, for instance.
Good.
Look at what was found. About over 700 housing units under him.
But we're told that it's just an allegation.
It's an allegation, but the court has already passed the judgment.
That is actually
the EFCC did not release the name.
Okay.
But based on findings, so many people have attached it to him.
Okay.
So if you look at such wealth, just for one person, look at the story of the former Minister of Petroleum, Dezeni. Look at the issue of the humanitarian affairs, Sadia Umar Farouk.
Yes. And even the one that left.
And then the permanent secretary, and even the one that left. So many issues. Are these poor Nigerians?
No, you see, the issue here is this. You see, when you have people who are, you see, poverty is a mental issue.
That's an issue we're going to discuss already. This is how we can go today on the P&B Morning Show. It's nice having you, Abraham Habba, for being my co-host and my presenter this morning.
You're welcome.
That's how far. And for now, we'll be we'll be drawing the curtain on this particular program this morning to actually give way for other programs to come in. Very, very delightful programs we are going to be having all through the day. So stay glued, as we call it, a day. My name is Isa Noon.
And my name is Abraham Abba. Wow.